I replied with one sentence. Me. I've already moved. You might want to check the paperwork. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Sister, what does that mean? I didn't answer. Friday came. So did the housewarming party she'd planned, new furniture, catered food, social media posts about new beginnings. I watched the Instagram stories roll in while sitting in my temporary apartment, sipping coffee. Then my phone rang. Her husband. I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail was, panicked. Hey, we have a situation. There's some confusion about the house. Can you call us back? I waited an hour. Then my mom called. Crying. They say the transfer isn't complete. Why didn't you tell us this would happen? I almost laughed at the phrasing. This would happen. As if I'd done something wrong by existing. I didn't do anything, I said evenly. I just didn't sign away my rights. Silence. My dad finally spoke in the background. We thought you wouldn't fight it. That was the truth, wasn't it? They had counted on me being quiet. Being grateful for scraps. Leaving without resistance. But the real shock came the next morning. A courier arrived at the house. With legal documents. A formal notice stating the ownership claim was under dispute, the trust provisions were being reviewed, and no one had authority to evict anyone until the matter was resolved. My sister's ownership celebration. Over. Her posts disappeared. The party photos were deleted. And suddenly, everyone wanted to talk things through. But I was done explaining myself. They asked to meet the following week. Neutral place. Coffee shop. Just to clear the air. I almost didn't go. But closure, I've learned, isn't something other people give you, it's something you take. My sister arrived first. No confidence this time. No raised voice. Just tight lips and restless hands. My parents followed, suddenly careful with their words, like one wrong sentence might crack the ground beneath them. We didn't know it would go this far, my mom said, not meeting my eyes. I nodded. That's the problem. You never wanted to know. My sister jumped in. I thought you'd already moved on. You never cared about that house. I cared, I said calmly. I just didn't weaponize it. That landed. I told them everything, about Grandma's trust, about why she set it up, about the nights I stayed with her when no one else could be bothered. Not to guilt them. Just to set the record straight. My dad rubbed his face. So what happens now? I had rehearsed this answer. I'm not taking the house, I said. I'm enforcing fairness. Their heads snapped up. The trust stays intact, I continued. No evictions. No secret transfers. If the house is sold, it's done legally and split according to the trust. If it's kept, the rules apply to everyone. My sister exhaled hard. So you're just blocking us? No, I said. I'm blocking the way you treat me. Silence. Then she asked the question I'd been waiting for. What do you want? I smiled, not cruelly. Not smugly. Just honestly. I want respect. Or distance. You can choose. They didn't answer right away. That was answer enough. I stood, paid for my coffee, and walked out without looking back. The legal process took months. No dramatic courtroom scene. Just paperwork, meetings, and boundaries. The house was eventually sold. The proceeds were split exactly as my grandparents intended. My sister never apologized. My parents tried to pretend things were normal again. But I was done with normal. I moved cities. Took a better job. Built a life where no one could point at me and tell me to leave. Sometimes people ask if I regret not keeping the peace. Here's the truth. Peace that requires you to disappear isn't peace. It's surrender. And the day my sister yelled, "Get out," was the day I finally stepped into my own place. Even if it didn't come with a house key. The family party was supposed to be simple. Just a small get-together to celebrate my dad's birthday. Food, forced smiles, the usual passive-aggressive comments disguised as jokes. I almost didn't go, but my mom had called twice, insisting it would mean a lot if everyone was together. That should have been my first warning. The house itself already felt strange when I walked in. The photos on the wall had changed. Pictures of me were gone. In their place were new frames, my sister, her husband, their kid. Everywhere. It was subtle, but not accidental. I ignored it. I helped in the kitchen, greeted relatives, endured the familiar comparisons. Your sister is doing so well. She's really settled now. You should learn from her. I smiled. I always did. An hour later, everyone was gathered in the living room. Drinks were flowing. Laughter was a little too loud. That's when my sister stood up, clinked her glass, and said, "I have an announcement." My parents beamed. She wrapped an arm around her husband and said, "As of last week, we officially took ownership of this house." The room erupted in applause. I froze. This house wasn't just any house. It was the one my grandparents left behind, the one my dad had promised would be split evenly between us someday. The same house I helped maintain. The same one I paid repairs for when no one else would. I looked at my parents. They didn't look back. My sister smiled wider, enjoying the attention, then her eyes landed on me. And that's when her tone shifted. "Well," she said loudly, "since this is our house now, we've decided to make some changes." A pause. She actually pointed, at me. "Starting with you. You need to move out." The room went silent. I laughed nervously. "What?" She didn't blink. "You heard me. You don't live here anymore. Get your stuff and get out." My mom cleared her throat but said nothing. My dad stared at his drink. I felt heat rise in my chest. "You can't be serious. No one told me anything. When did this happen?" My sister scoffed. "Because it wasn't your business." I turned to my parents. "You knew." My mom finally spoke, softly, as if that made it better. "It just made sense. She has a family. You're single. You'll figure something out." That sentence hit harder than the yelling. My sister crossed her arms. "We're not trying to be cruel. But you've overstayed your welcome." Overstayed. I had lived there while working 2 jobs. I had paid utilities. I had covered groceries when they were short. I had skipped vacations so I could help with property taxes. My hands were shaking now. "So this is how I find out. In front of everyone." She shrugged. "You shouldn't make a scene." The hypocrisy almost made me dizzy. An uncle shifted uncomfortably. Someone coughed. No one defended me. That's when my sister raised her voice, sharp and clear. "Now I'm the owner of that house. Get out." Something inside me snapped, not loudly, not dramatically. It was quieter than that. Like a lock clicking open. I looked around the room one last time. At the people who had watched me be humiliated and chosen comfort over fairness. At the house I thought was home, but never really was. I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. My sister smirked, clearly satisfied. "Good. I expect you gone by the end of the week." I picked up my jacket. As I headed for the door, my mom finally called my name, but I didn't turn around. Because what none of them realized was that my sister had made one very big mistake. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I didn't know where I'd go, I already had options. But because I replayed that moment over and over in my head. The pointing. The smirk. The way my parents avoided my eyes like I was something shameful. By morning, my sadness had hardened into clarity. I packed quietly. No drama. No last conversations. I took only what was mine, documents, clothes, a few boxes from the garage everyone forgot I even used. By noon, my car was full. That's when my phone buzzed. "Mom, we didn't mean it like that. Your sister is just stressed." "Dad, let's talk later." Later. Always later. I didn't reply. Instead, I drove straight to my lawyer's office. "See, here's the part no one at that party knew. 3 years earlier, when my grandparents' health began failing, I was the one who took them to appointments. I was the one who sat with them, listened to their fears, helped organize their paperwork. And when my grandmother quietly said, "I don't trust what will happen after we're gone," I listened. She asked me to help her update the estate. Not to control it. Not to take anything unfairly. Just to make sure it was protected. The house. It was placed into a family trust. A trust that required all beneficiaries to be notified and sign off before ownership could change. I was a beneficiary. And I had never signed anything. My lawyer confirmed it in 10 minutes. The transfer your sister claims. It's not legally valid. I let that sink in. While my family was celebrating, popping champagne and congratulating my sister on her new house, she was standing on very thin legal ice. I didn't smile. I didn't feel triumphant yet. I felt calm. That afternoon, my sister texted me for the first time. "Sister, make sure you're actually out by Friday. Don't embarrass yourself."